Namaskar, Ashok Vyas, and I would not be wrong in saying that excitement is in the air. Whether you talk about festivities, kids are going trick or treat, ready to have those candies, happy Halloween, and of course, many of my Indian American friends and even those who are not Indian Americans are also excited about the upcoming festival of light, Deepavali. But even more important excitement is in the air due to the upcoming presidential elections and how Whitehouse, which has started the tradition of observing Deepavali, is also somewhere in different ways related to India and how that flows up to these elections. We'll talk about that. And I have the distinct pleasure and honor of welcoming a very open, what should I say? Without any hesitation, Professor A.D. Amar has been a champion to support Trump's presidency even in the last elections. And I also have the pleasure of the presence of my good friend Parveen Chopra ji, who is founder of a lotusinthemud.com web magazine, and he has been a long time editor. So I have the pleasure of presence of these two esteemed individuals. But I'll begin with Parveen ji this time. And you recently wrote a piece referring to the Indianness of Kamala Harris, how it is playing out in the upcoming elections, and allow me also to recollect. Recently, Kamala Harris' photograph wearing sari while she was in her 20s was displayed by presidential candidate from Republican Party, Donald J. Trump, and he said she is an Indian or Afro-American or something like that. So over to you, Parveen ji. How do you see, is Kamala Harris sort of downplaying her Indian roots, or she's capitalizing on her Indian roots overall, Parveen ji?
Okay. I'm editor of lotusinthemud.com, but I also started writing a column for patheos.com, which is an American multi-religion website. I wrote one on whether Indians will vote for Kamala Harris. That was about 2-3 weeks ago. Last week, I wrote one on whether how much of her Indianness matters for Indian voters. Okay, so my argument is Trump said actually his exact words were that she used to be Indian and now that she suddenly turned black, African American, which the fact is that she's both. And she has never denied that she is biracial. And in America, that is, I won't say new norm, but this is happening. There will be intermarriages and so on. So my argument in the latest article for Patheos was that she certainly is half Indian. Her mother was Indian. There's no denying that. And the Indian genes, the Indian heritage is in her genes. You see her, she looks Indian, she looks brown. And she has never denied that. So we Indian Americans should take pride in that an Indian American, half Indian American, has reached to that level. So that was my argument.
Okay, so I'll come back to you. And now, of course, we'll go to the larger issues. Indeed, it matters to some extent. There is some emotional connect if you share certain traditional background or something. But overall, as we all would agree that ultimately you look at who is the right candidate. But who is the right candidate would also depend on which party you subscribe to and certain policies that you like, dislike, etc. But Professor Amar, staying with the Indian side of it, and as Parveen ji said, we should take pride that she shares Indian roots. Do you take pride in that someone from that group agreed to the
I definitely do. After all, Indians have come to this height that one of them is contesting for the presidency and another one has been picked up as due to her husband, also to be in the White House. So no matter who wins, like Pradeep said, uh, an Indian connection is going to be deep, deep into the White House. Now, I would say it's maybe not in this election. 4 years from now, two Indians will be contesting for the presidency. And that I would say for sure, one will be Kamala Harris and other will be Vivek Ramaswamy.
No, even Nikki Haley is possible.
Even Nikki Haley is possible, definitely. But those two, I can tell you for sure, will be there. And I'm not even talking about the primaries. I am even talking about the general election or final election.
So let me interrupt you here because you made a very bold statement, and that means whether Kamala Harris becomes the president this time or she doesn't become the president this time, you foresee that she's going to be the nominee of Democratic Party 4 years down. Doesn't speak very good about Democrat in my mind, but what is the logic behind this forecast?
The logic is if she loses, she will contest 4 years from now. If she wins, she will contest for 4 years from now. So she is certain. I can bet on that. As regards Vivek Ramaswamy, I was listening to him last night, while he was at the Madison Square Garden. And my wife, who was really not paying attention, but or not watching, but listening to all the speakers. And she said, this person was saying everything so right and so accurately. Who was that person? I said that was Vivek Ramaswamy. And he is definitely, I would say, very smart and very ready to be American president. And he will contest, and I won't be surprised in 2028 he is elected. But let's come to 2024.
Yes.
Now, and the reason I did not really support Kamala Harris for several reasons. One, I think she's not ready. She is not ready to be president. She is definitely a very pleasant person. She is laughing all the time. She is saying things which are good and decent, and except for repeatedly calling Trump deranged and unhinged, which became a kind of her mantra. She has really two things on which she is fighting. One is abortion, that women have the right for abortion. Nobody contests that you have to give women choice, but there has to be a time, and that should happen before heart starts to beat of the baby or fetus to be. And after that, there should be a control. There should be a check. After all, look at
let me quick interruption, and let's hear from Parveen ji about his take on whether she's ready or not ready. Of course, it is a subjective matter, but she has the support of many celebrities, including those whom many people sort of adore, like Oprah Winfrey, and there are many more. And she managed to raise more dollars as compared to President Trump. So there is something going on for her. But again, that doesn't qualify whether she is ready or not, and she kind of showed herself less prepared in response to some of the questions which were seen in recent interviews and the town hall meetings. So I know you do not support President Trump. Am I correct in saying that on air? Yes.
Yes.
But do you support Kamala Harris? And what is your take on her preparedness or lack of preparedness?
Yeah. See, America has a two-party system, so it is a binary choice. What's called binary, this or that. So people who don't like Trump, his temperament, and many things about his personality, and the thing that Professor Amar said, that Kamala Harris has been saying that he is kind of a fascist or something. So that also is in everybody's mind, because last time I remember, everything else Trump did maybe was okay, but he did not leave White House peacefully. He didn't even want to lose till the very last moment, and that is a disqualifying thing for me. As far as Kamala Harris, I spoke to many Indian voters for my column, and some of them said that, oh, she's not good for India or she's not good for Hindus. My argument is that we should vote on the basis of whether she's good for America, not
So what Professor Amar is saying is whether she's good for America or not. That is the reference point when he says she's not prepared. Do you see her prepared from that point of view?
Certainly, and I'll say that all democratic presidents, they work for they want to rule the country for the common people. Trump will cut taxes for the very rich people. He'll threaten them. Like recently, Jeff Bezos, he owns Washington Post. They did not. They wanted to, but they did not endorse Kamala Harris because he must have threatened him, because Jeff Bezos.
That is your assumption, which I will question. And
Sure.
also, I will go further deeper into you considering her as prepared. And again, the impression that she created, even while there was a town hall type meeting with Oprah Winfrey at the center, and the way she responded recently to the issue of entry of migrants and having porous border, etc. So, your take on that, and then we'll go to Professor.
Yeah, in the CNN town hall, somebody asked her, "What's your weakness?" She said she consults many people. So a president, she has been a vice president for 4 years, so that's good enough preparation. And then there are all those other consultants, advisors, and so on that a president hires and recruits, and it should be okay.
All right. So I'll rephrase what I heard from Parveen. He considers someone who has the knack of surrounding himself or herself with smart people is qualified to become a president. Whether she added something from her own side about processing the information that comes and the ability to retain the information that is given to her, I think that was left out in that particular response. It didn't come very clear. So let us begin from where Parveen left, Professor Amar, and then we'll catch up other. Again, preparedness in the context of she said, what is her view?
Right. I got your point. See, I do not believe that being surrounded by consultants and others in making decision, you will end up getting the right decision all the time. People have different opinions. You will have one person will tell you one thing, another person will tell you another thing. You do need the knowledge. And if we look at the record she has left in the White House, it further reinforces my conclusion that she is not ready. Look at, why did you keep the border open when you know all kind of people are coming into America? Chinese are coming in hordes, making trips, And government is paying them. What I heard, China is paying them, funding them. Go, make a home in America, settle in America. They are coming and throwing their passports right at the border, tearing them off, cutting them off, and then they will say, I have no travel documents. I just left in a rush from. So why did she not do anything? Did she love America? Did she care for us? Those who are here living in America, they're having them. Okay, some say 21 million. Some say even more than 21 million. But everybody agrees, even Democrats say 10 million or so have entered. Now, what shall we do with them? And now you are leaving a bigger problem for the new president if it is going to be Trump. And then the bill they presented for approval in Congress was putting these migrants on a fast route to become citizens and become normalized. I know some Indians who came to America 20 years ago, haven't still gotten green card, have not been normalized. They can't leave America and go to India because they are afraid they will not be allowed to enter. So why did you do that? And then on top of that, we see economy has been going bad.
Let's stay with this migrant issue with Parveenji's take. And many people, Parveenji, are genuinely concerned about the approach, whether it is Kamala Harris or anyone else, that Democratic Party has taken and leaving the borders porous, which is in long term is going to affect American economy as well as security and law and order situation. Is going to deteriorate is the projection of many people, and that is also in the minds of many voters. Now, how do you see these two candidates, leaving aside our personal rights and dislikes, working for America?
Right. So in the last few months, Democratic Party, the Biden White House, they have tried to make amends. The last few months, the flow of migrants from the border, illegal immigrants, it has reduced. And she has been trying to come to the middle in a way, making more moderates, just like Trump. Trump has been trying to come to the middle on abortion and so on. But I agree that I speak to Indians, regular people, and they do feel afraid because of the illegal immigrants coming into their neighborhoods. I understand that. And I also see that the new immigrants to America, whether they're Indian or not, they're always Democrats. Once they've settled down and they've been here for some years, they've built houses, families, and so on, they want to feel secure. So that's why in the last few years, after particularly Trump came in, many Indian American voters have been shifting towards Republicans, like Professor Amar. But about Professor Amar, I want to say to him that today he's talking about this border issue, but 8 years ago, he did support Trump. 4 years ago, he did support Trump. So it's also a very personal matter. Republicans will always support a Republican candidate of a president and so on. So it is, you can keep on arguing what happened now. Surely that's important. But Professor Amar supported Trump. He even had some kind of an organization.
So he is not denying, he is still supporting. So, I mean, what is your argument here? I'm trying to understand.
In the sense that, so what was his argument 8 years ago for supporting Trump? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so those were different issues comparatively. I mean,
let me answer.
Here today in 2020.
So can I answer Parveen's question? That's a very valid question. In 2016, in January 2016, I was the first academic professor who endorsed Trump and formed Indian Americans for Trump. And it's because I felt he was the best person for America. And he did prove to be best for America for the 20 years. There was peace economy was doing very well. COVID was handled so well, in fact, better than anywhere else. Vaccine was expedited and made ready. Now, also in 2020, I endorsed him. And I still believe there is nothing wrong in challenging elections. That's been part of it. And when in 2016 Trump was elected, there were demonstrations and processions going all over America. Not my president, not my president. They refused. Democrats refused to accept him as president.
In this case, Trump himself refused to leave the White House, not his party.
See, Trump, that you're talking about 2022. I'm talking about or 2020. I'm talking about 2016.
Yeah, allow me a quick interruption, Professor Amar.
Sure.
We will have one more conversation where we'll focus more on economic side as well as some of the policy related issues like abortion, freedom of choice, and left-right divide about some core principles. But for now, if I may request you to delve into the impact which, as Parveen rightly pointed out, January 6th and what happened in the Capitol Hill, and that still is in the minds of those who are core supporters of Trump. That was it a dignified exit, or was it not the way it should have been in a democratic country?
Fine, let me answer that. Okay, why in 2020, when Biden became president, they did not even invite Trump to come to the pledge induction ceremony? Why? Where do you say democracy? And so they do talk about Republicans and about Trump not accepting democracy, but they themselves did not. If he did not show up, I would have blamed Trump, but Trump was not invited. And then on top of that, if you see how they turned January 6th issue into such a happening, in my observation, I believe it was done on purpose. They wanted to create something to go and fight. And they just knew so many people were coming.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence that Trump's opponents created that. No, they were all his supporters.
No, Nancy Pelosi did not order security.
No, that is Trump's talking point. No way.
No.
Okay, he's talking about after the event. He's talking about after the event.
Let me finish.
He's not talking
He's
about
talking about the event that his opponents created that event. They did
No. He's saying what happened on 6th January, the way it was mounted up by the media.
No, that's Trump's talking point. That Nancy Pelosi didn't do that. Or what? Somebody else.
It's not Trump talking. It is Professor Amar talking. I'm not going by what he says. I'm going by what I observed. There were 3 occasions where police should have been ordered and were ordered and stopped.
Trump was the president. He could have done whatever he
No,
wanted
Trump
to do.
does
Why
not
didn't he
do it.
When it was going on for 6 hours, he didn't do anything.
Parveen, you know the Capitol building is under the
entire country is under Trump. Was under Trump.
No, not under Trump, under Nancy Pelosi. Because she was the speaker and she was the owner of the Capitol building.
Who could have ordered National Guard? He could have ordered National Guard to go there.
No, she should have ordered. And when he ordered, it was cancelled. Even the city of DC was not ordering, was told there is no need. Nancy said there is no need. They wanted to create this.
Sorry. Just in 2 minutes, because we have to conclude. If I may request both of you to look at this particular point, which we just discussed, how much of its weight is going to be on the minds of the voters. And of course, it will be determined by whether they are Republican or Democrats. Yet, if you try to look at those who are somewhere in the middle? Will they decide based on the 6th January, that particular event?
Very, very little. In all the topics, January 6th was not listed.
But
People
it is
really
not.
are listing things like economy, migrants, peace not being there, or wars going on, whether it is Israeli and Hamas and Ukraine and Russia. And look at, it was common blame they gave to Trump was he will cause World War III. And it was the most peaceful period. Then also had to do with the military. Afghanistan, leaving Afghanistan and what they created. In fact, these 4 years have been like children were running the White House.
Let Parveenji disagree and respond, and then we'll conclude.
I'm a journalist, but a realist journalist. I do think, I do see that the election is tilting towards Trump. You asked about the people who are in the middle, and they are looking like more of them voting for Trump. So we'll see. But overall, it seems very 50-50 kind of election, very, very close. So we'll see what happens on November 5th. That is the polling date.
Absolutely. So I want to thank Professor Amar and Parveen and I would like also our viewers to know that we are going to have another conversation with both of them where we will be going into the economic policies and some of the core principal values as are perceived differently by left and right, etc., and how they are playing out in this presidential election. But before we conclude, I also want to bring to our attention the recent visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and for some valid reason, he was kind of at a distance from both political parties this time, unlike last time when in the Howdy Modi, President Trump was also present, and there was a kind of hints about his special liking for President Trump earlier, which is not there anymore. Very quick, would you agree with my assessment?
You're right. I will say he wanted to not take sides.
Absolutely.
Because he didn't want to show he has good relationship with Trump. And I can narrate to you from my experience, two Diwalis ago, we were in Mar-a-Lago and Trump celebrated Diwali. The best Diwali celebration I ever had. With my wife.
Happy Diwali. On that note, happy Diwali to you. And
I will add that whosoever is president, India-US relations are at such a stage that it will not matter, and it is only going to become better and better.
I agree with Parveen.
Wonderful. So I agree with both of them, and I agree with all of you in exchanging happy Deepavali greetings for everyone. May there be one full of peace, prosperity, and especially harmony, very much needed.
Yes.
Thank you very much. This is Ashok Vyas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.